So with that, I'm going to introduce today's guest speaker. He's Humboldt County Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Chris Hartley.
Wow, good morning, TGIF, right? We're here. You walk in, everybody's like, "Oh, that's Friday, we made it." And for all you school folks, and certainly all the seniors, you know, you're kind of clicking these last few days off. There's no case of senioritis in this room, though, that's for sure. Right? You guys are pumped? You can feel the love. Hey guys, you're almost there. What, graduation's Thursday, right, Mr. Navarro? Thursday? So this is technically your last Friday, right? And I thought it was interesting as the scholarships that President Littlefield was giving out. Pretty interesting, the attendance rate on the scholarship receivers was pretty high. One gentleman didn't make it though, so maybe you want to re-gift that one.
I
think his name was Austin, so I'm sorry, Austin, if I mentioned that.
I know his parents.
Yeah. It's a real pleasure to be here this morning. You know, I spent 21 years in the Northern Humboldt School District and actually cut my teeth as a school administrator at Arcata High School, I think it was '96. President Littlefield never missed first period. He was always at school on time. And he loved getting up super early, just like you guys did to get here today. So it's really great to see you. President Littlefield here running the Rotary. So congratulations on all your hard work. And you've got a year in your belt. So thank you. You know, so when you hear the students' GPAs, that's just amazing. You know, I was talking to Mr. Navarro, 30 of your students, you know, your outstanding academic achievements. You know, so we're all here to understand your dedication. We appreciate your grit. Your perseverance that you've done for the last 12 years, and we're excited for your next transition. So I also think it's real important to acknowledge Rotary and all the families and all the other support systems that you've all had over the course of this time. So let's give all those folks a round of applause. And the quality of education that we have right here in Arcata is outstanding. And I'd be remiss if I didn't take a second to acknowledge all the folks that have helped students through their 12 years of education. You know, we go back and we talk about your teachers, your counselors, your career counseling staff, your mentors, your custodians, your bus drivers, your secretaries, the coaches that you guys have had, your art teachers, your music teachers, you know, all the special folks that have interacted with you through this time of your life, you know, have really been extremely helpful in getting you to where you're at today. And then lastly, to Mr. Navarro and his administrative staff. You guys are running right now. There's a lot going on. In fact, you're running after a few students probably today, from what I understand. But so let's give Arcata High School just a round of applause for that. So I think it's important to talk a little bit about, so you know, you get to the top 10%, it's a measure of your GPA, but what we all in this room realize that there's far more to the qualities of these students than just their grade point average. And I was thinking about, well, what can I talk about today? You know, I've attended a few of these events in my career, and I was like, what might be, you know, a topic that would resonate for folks? And I thought that would be good to talk about those things, the personal qualities that students have, all these folks in this room have actually, that go beyond just a grade point average. You know, and I started doing a little bit of research on some of that stuff. There's a company out there that receives 1 million resumes a year. And of those 1 million resumes, 4,000 to 6,000 employees are hired. 1 to 4% of the applicants actually land a position. What company do you guys think that might be? Bueller? There was a movie on it, The Intern. Remember that movie, The Intern? It was a comedy. Google. Yeah, Google. And so when you work at Google, they call you a noodler. I know, I thought that was interesting too. And so to be a noodler, it's no easy task. And in fact, it's more difficult to get a job at Google than it is to get into Harvard. So it's obviously the leading tech company in the world, #1 rated company to work for in the last 6 years running. So I thought, well, what do they look for to be a noodler, right? And we actually did a unit on this when we were doing a staff development training. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, Dave. And our teaching staff put together this actual activity to demonstrate to their colleagues how important it is to teach these other skills outside of just curriculum, right? It's one thing to teach about, you know, Miss Jennifer back there, you know, history and all the historical facts, but it's another really to talk about the skills and talk about the human qualities that, you know, that make people stand out in our history. And so Google's kind of got it figured out. And one of the things that they look for is cognitive ability. Now, not your IQ, but your learning ability. And we talk about IQ versus EQ, your emotional capacity, your emotional intelligence. And that's what Google's looking for. And that's what these students here possess today. So it's the ability to process on the fly, the ability to pull together bits of information and to make something of it, right? Not just know a bunch of facts, have a lot of knowledge in your head, but to do something with it. To be a Noogler, they want you to have leadership skills. Now, when we talk about leadership, and a lot of you guys, as you're applying for colleges, your parents and your counselors are saying, go be that class president, which is a fantastic thing, but sometimes we say, you need to put that on your college application. You need some leadership, right? And those are all outstanding things to be a part of. But what Nooglers are looking for there is to be able to lead folks, to have emergent qualities, being a part of a team. So all the folks here that are part of orchestra at 7 a.m., that takes commitment. That goes way beyond cracking the books and memorizing a lot of information. And you go to that class at 7 a.m. because you have a commitment not just to yourself, but to that teacher. I can remember Miss Jacobson, my daughter did 4 years of orchestra at Arcata High, and she was dragging herself to get to that class every time. And I said, God, honey, how do you do it? She goes, well, I can't let Miss Jacobson down. Those are the qualities that I'm talking about. That's a different kind of leadership, right? Those are the things that make an organization strong. Those type of qualities. And that's what Noogling is all about, too. So the other thing that they like is humility and ownership. And when I think of that, I think of having no fear of failure. And that it's okay to take risks. And it's okay to challenge yourself with the idea that it might not work out. And that's what they're looking for as well. Edison said, I have failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. It's perfect. That's exactly right. And the least important attribute is the expertise, that you have to be an expert at something. And that folks realize that you're going to miss steps from time to time. But when you miss those steps, that's when your most creative thoughts and your most creative ideas come out. And if you don't take that opportunity to do that, you're really missing out on something. And what we know about these students here today is that they have all of these divergent qualities. They have all of these leadership skills that go far beyond a GPA. They're going to take you into life and give you opportunities that otherwise you wouldn't have. And so with that, the world really does care about what you know and what you understand, but they really want to know what you're going to do with it. And it's exciting to see you all here, and we're really excited to see where you're going to go in your future. And we know that it's an absolute positive things are on the horizon for you. We also talk about, I just know this from my own daughters. I've got my youngest attended her first year at Boise State. She graduated here locally from McKinneyville High. My oldest just graduated from Humboldt State, and she's going into teaching. And I was talking to some friends who just had some recent graduates like yourselves, and we're like, how is it that this community just seems to come together? And do we do a fantastic job not only raising our kids, but we raise them together? There's a good chance that some of you guys started school together in kindergarten, perhaps. Yeah? You guys know each other for a long time? And so your families know each other for a long time. And so what I love about this community is we go far beyond just one family raising a unit. We as a community raise our kids together. And I feel really, really fortunate that Arcata is that kind of a place. And super appreciative of that value. And I think it's important for our graduates today to kind of think about those things too as you move on in your life. That wherever you happen to land, be a positive part of that community, just like this community has been for you. When you think of the Rotarians and you think of the business people, every time we do an athletic event, we do a fundraiser, this community steps up every single time and donates items and gives their most precious resource, which is their time, to help support events like this for our students. And so for students today, you have some Noogling skills there you can work on, but you also think about how you can give back to your community when you make it. When you're sitting in here in one of these tables hosting a top 10%, and you're President Littlefield here running your Rotary Summit. And I guess that would be my parting message to you. And we're very proud of you. We're extremely proud of you. And we wish you the number one thing in life, and that is lots of joy in whatever it is you choose to do. So congratulations once again. Thank you for having me here today. It's an absolute pleasure to come here to Arcata Rotary. And hey, have a great Friday, everybody, and a strong finish to your year. Thank you very much.